Hey guys, so we finally got some new information as to when Halo Reach is coming to the Master Chief Collection. Yesterday on the social stream, Dursky and Postums, Tyler, actually played the Xbox flight that we're going to be having access to very, very soon. And it really shows how close the game is to being completed and some other features that are going to be in this build I wanted to go through. So let's get to it, lots to talk about, and I'm very excited to play Reach on the Xbox One. So I'm going to go through everything that they showed in order, but just very quickly, they added Forge, there's Theater, they added a new Create option, there's new settings, so it's called Jumper Jumper, a variant of Bumper Jumper that I'll talk about in a second. There's 2v2, 4v4, 8v8, and Invasion. We get our first look at EXP progression and the symbols that'll be associated with that. We also get to see the gameplay, and it honestly looks almost finished. So if they can do the menus and kind of work out all the other bugs, it's probably going to take a little bit of time, but we could have Reach out on the Master Chief Collection a lot sooner than initially thought. So the first thing you're going to notice with this new build is they've added a couple new options to the menu selection screen. You got your multiplayer, you got your create, and you got options and career, which is basically just your customization, which is disabled for this build. But the big new thing is create. Create has Forge and Theater. I should add that on Forge, it's non-Forge world maps, so I don't know if there's a bug at the moment they're not telling us about, because even in the matchmaking, there's no Forge world maps, so I'm sure they'll tell us about it and why it's been delayed at some point. But also there's Theater. It'll be very interesting to see whether Theater will be exactly like it is on Reach, because Reach's Theater is really, really good. Obviously, you're not going to be able to permanently save films, because that's just the MCC way, which is kind of disappointing. But nevertheless, it's going to be really cool. If you get a clip, you can go back and record it in 1080-60, or if you have an Xbox One X, they confirm that you can play this build in 4K 60 frames per second, which is awesome. Forge will not be limited in any way, and it'll be the exact full version you're used to on the Xbox 360, so it'll be really cool to see people doing custom games or creating custom game modes, and really seeing what they can do with this temporary build. And I think there'll be a lot more options, because back on the 360, if you did certain types of maps, the frame rate would drop terribly. So it'll be very interesting to see on this build how far you can push it and seeing how optimized it really is. The next thing Dursky and Postums went through was the settings, and all the settings are basically vanilla, exactly the same as they are on the 360, and you have the exact same options as you currently have on the Master Chief Collection. You have your dead zones, your sensitivity, your 0.5 sensitivities, your vibration, etc. inverted if that's what you want to do. But the big thing for people who claw a controller, so if I just pull my controller, I hold the controller like this, and it's like a little crab claw. If you do that and you play on Bumper Jumper, there's an extra setting called Jumper Jumper. Now this setting is for people who want to be able to use the jetpack without having to get arthritis in their hand before they're 30 years old. So the way Jumper Jumper works is if you hit jump once, you do a jump. You hit jump twice, you'll be able to jetpack. And this means that you can play the game without having to claw the controller, but you can also play it the legacy way if you really want to. I think it's a great quality of life feature. I don't know how I'm going to play it yet. I'll probably still play it the old way, just because that's what I'm used to. But people who didn't claw the controller but still played Bumper Jumper, it kind of gives them a new way to play, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how people play with it. The next thing you'll notice in the build is the new social searching match composer. It's exactly the same as the Xbox One's current build, the public build, except you can see they have the Reach options in it, so nothing too new there. But what is really new is if you can see the bronze shield in the top right hand corner, and underneath the dev name there's actually a blue bar. It's kind of our first look into the XP progression system on the Master Chief Collection. Obviously your 1 to 50 true skill is going to have some sort of effect on it, but for now all we've seen is a bronze shield, and you have your XP at the bottom. When that blue bar fills up, you'll go to the next rank. Now, something that's very important that they actually did touch on, and something that I get as a comment a lot, is how can I get into the build? How do I get access to these things, Remy? How do I get into the MCC Insider if I've already signed up? Now, the thing they said is because there's been people who've been in the first flight and then not in the second flight, and they're wondering, why am I in this one but not the other one? And the one thing they said was due to the surveys, they would ask people's preferences. What do you like? Do you enjoy playing the campaign over Firefighter multiplayer? Do you like playing Firefighter over the campaign? These little things kind of meant that people's niches, what they really enjoyed, got them preference into that build. Obviously, there's a couple of YouTubers and streamers who got access, but that's like 0.1% of almost 10,000 people, so it's kind of negligible. Aside from that, what your preferences were kind of dictates if you get into the build, and also if you do play the Master Chief Collection, and if you've done the MCC Insider in the past, kind of dictates whether you get access into the game or not. Aside from that, from a gameplay standpoint, the game almost looks finished in that regard. Until I get hands-on access when the build is eventually released, I can kind of tell you guys how close we are to it. But from a spectator standpoint, it looks really good. All the gameplay seems functional. They didn't talk about many bugs as they were playing, and usually when there's a test build, they'll say, oh, this isn't working, or this is kind of messed up at the moment, but we're going to be fixing it. But aside from that, it looks pretty good. Obviously, there's lots of menu stuff that has to be fixed. Obviously, we don't actually see what the customization is yet, and that's probably a really big thing. And they still said there's the memory issue with fitting the entire game, 6 or 7 different engines onto one game, and there's obviously a bit of parameters onto what they can actually do, because they're releasing it for every Xbox. It has to be able to fit on the original Xbox One's memory, and that's a bit of a challenge, so that's a big thing they're still trying to work out. Aside from that, as I said, gameplay, it looks really good. I can't wait to play it, and hopefully we get access to it very soon. So guys, that's going to do it from me today. I just wanted to quickly outline everything that we now know, and hopefully within the next couple weeks we get access to the build. That's what happened with Firefly once they showed it on the social stream. It wasn't too long before we actually got access, so fingers crossed with that. As soon as it comes out, you know I'll make a full video breaking it down. We'll go into nitty gritty details and we'll kind of find out what we actually can do. If there's any bugs, what are they, and how good the game actually is. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be back soon with a new montage very, very soon. I'm just putting the last finishing touches onto that. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.